Well, in his conference speech, the Scottish Labour leader Sarwar claimed that only Labour could beat the SNP at the election in May, and only he could replace John Swinney as First Minister. Our political editor Colin Mackay is there. So Colin, what did he have to say about the by-election result?
Nothing, absolutely nothing. And in a 25-page speech, not a word about the by-election last night. No mention either of the Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer. He wasn't invited to the conference today. I mean, he seems to have maybe fallen out a bit with Anas Sarwar, because despite what Douglas Alexander was saying to you in there, Anas Sarwar thinks he should go, and I don't think he'd been terribly welcome today. The closest Anas Sarwar got to talking about any of that, though, was a warning to voters that the election in May is not a protest vote, not a free hit, not about Westminster. Now, he talked about the SNP a lot. He said today that this could be the only chance to end SNP rule. He said they have failed, they don't deserve to win, and he urged independent supporters to switch to Labour.
So whether you do it with enthusiasm, whether you do it with anger, or if you do it by holding your nose, let's come together and back the only party that can get rid of this incompetent SNP government that deserves to lose. So if you think it is time to end 20 years of the SNP, there is only one way to do it. Vote Scottish Labour.
And Colin, what about policies?
Well, he promised to always maintain free tuition, and to those studying to become doctors, dentists and nurses, he said, if we pay for your training here, we expect you to stay here. And he's talking about 5 years after they've graduated. He promised 9,000 new apprenticeships, 125,000 new build homes in the next Parliament. But for most of his speech, he focused on the choice at the election.
The next First Minister will either be John Swinney or me. 10 weeks to the election. 10 weeks until Scotland faces a choice. 10 weeks to beat the SNP. 10 weeks to elect a new government and a new First Minister. 10 weeks to build a better future for our country, Scotland. So let's get out there and win that future together. Thank you.
That was the end of his speech. Now, in that speech, he mentioned himself as potential First Minister at least half a dozen times. But a YouGov poll today for the Scottish election study suggests Labour are on just 14%, behind Reform on 18% and the SNP on 34%. Now, asking voters to hold their nose and vote Labour isn't a great message. I don't think you can expect to see that on the side of a bus come the election campaign. And even although he doesn't want to talk about the Prime Minister's record in government, last night's by-election result shows just the extent of the troubles Labour faces. And there might not be much talk today of Sir Keir Starmer going and being replaced at Westminster, but if Anas Sarwar can't turn things round by May, they could both be in the firing line.